Hello and welcome. New week, new luck. I hope everyone is doing well. Jean is hiding behind her camera, right? Like, this is what it is. Tom, appreciate you for being here. Brian, hello, and Michael, hello. I hope everyone is well, and there's a new week ahead of us. So, I hope everyone has planned that out and is on top of things. And I like that very much. And I say welcome to our Mondays, the ownership edge call, where we always talk about how you really win in your land business in 2026. And this is like short sessions, 20 minutes, and there will always be one key takeaway. So yeah, welcome. And if you're watching on the socials, you want to be in the Zoom room and ask some questions later. Yeah, this we will post the link. Join us here in Skool. We have a great like welcome offer for you. This is what it is, and guys, this will not be a theory call, right? This will not be a mindset call. This one thing you either do this week or you stay stuck, right? Um, if you're right now a little bit in the phase of your business where you maybe feel a little bit overwhelmed, slow, or unsure on deals right now, it's actually not because the market is hot, right? The reason why I see, and I looked last week, and this is why I wanted to make this session today. I looked last week at around like, I don't know, 40 deals. We had like 25 submitted and 15 from our own, like for partnering on those deals. And the main constraint I was staying on all these deals is that it was not clear what is actually the buy box for this deal. And what do I mean by buy box, right? I don't mean like the that you create like any kind of criterias like acre and state and all this. No, I mean like, hey, when you have a deal in front of you, the thing you should think first about is who does buy this deal? Who's the person that will take in the end that piece of land out of my hands and do something with it, right? And I hear from a lot of people, I need better leads, I need more capital, I need better comms, I need more confidence. But all that doesn't matter if you're not super clear what a good deal actually looks like for you, right? We're living in 2026, right? And you can really design your outcome before you even do any marketing, right? By just answering one simple question. What is a good deal for me? And what do I mean by that? Right? I don't mean like really going deep into where is it located, what is the size, the price needs to be, it feels like the price needs to be cheap or whatever. Um, like that's more like a wish list. Okay, yeah, hey, I think this and this will work. So what you really need to define is um, a filter where you can say no to your deals really, really fast, right? You look at them and say, you know what? That's not a thing. I let it go because all the time I spend right now is wasted time. And this is like one of the major constraints I see. People get a contract and are so excited about that. And then in the very end, what happens is they don't know who to sell it to, right? They just like try desperately to find a funder, to find a realtor, to find whatever to sell it for the price they that matches their contract price. And this is where land investing dies in these days, right? So and that starts really early in the process. That starts top of the funnel. So when you approach your marketing, you should always think, okay, when I now target deals, this deal should feed this buyer type. And that can be, I don't know, a mobile home retailer. That can be recreational acreage for hunters. That can be, I don't know, builders in a specific area. That can be, I don't know, just recreational acreage outside of the city, like where people can have a little bit of an estate lifestyle, right? So before you even start, think about who would buy my deal and what do I want to make and how do I want to make that money, right? Because there's so many variances of how you can make money. You can wholesale, you can just flip a contract, right? You can sell it on a financing, right? You can sell by cash, right? Like, but all this, like how you design that deal on the front end and how you run your marketing, um, will design over success in 2026 in land investing. And like for us in the process, it starts at data, but then always when we look at a property, did you ever realize in the comms calls that after we ruled out landlocked and a couple of things, I just think about in those comms calls, who would buy this deal? This is the next thing I ask myself, right? Like when somebody goes out there, who would be the person that takes that piece of land out of my hand, right? Um, because when you don't do that, you don't price it right. Because a builder will buy at a steeper discount than a retail buyer, right? A subdivide person that could subdivide or entitle will buy at a different price than a retail end user that just wants to hunt on their property or wants to drive some ATVs or whatever. So, what's really important, I think, when you go in this year now, be pretty clear how you want to exit deals from day one. And when you get your hands on a deal, think, does that make sense for my strategy? Because this pray and hope that I see across the board, right? Like, got a deal last week, and we're like in total three parcels on one contract, and it was a really specific exit strategy that was proposed to do. And I said, okay, nobody will buy it at that price. It's too high. That buyer persona that was there in mind and where mobile home park developers wouldn't buy for that price because it was a large like retail recreational price that a mobile home developer wouldn't pay for that. But somebody that had like, some usage in that area for recreational activity and so on will, but they will not pay that amount of money either, right? So what I what I really want you to take away today is when you design your marketing funnels, really look like how should my end product look like, and that's first of all the buyer. The second thing, what you should think about is how do you solve the liquidity issue in those deals? Because all of us have that, right? I don't know if you have a rich uncle, like, or the Prince of Nigeria is the legit Prince of Nigeria, right? That writes you that email, write me wire me $100,000, get $2 million back. Harold is writing, is laughing because he probably has a rich uncle in Nigeria, right? I don't know about that, but you know what I mean? Like, when you think about that, one of the major
Yeah, well,
problems is how do you design exits, if that makes sense? Like in the variant, like the capital stack through partners, the capital stack that you have in the company is really important to also determine what do you put top of the funnel. If you don't have the network of funders or enough capital to do deals that are to buy a deal for 80 or $100,000, and your market is not fast enough to do a double close in 30 or 60 days, right? You probably don't want to target properties that you need to take down in a market that has like a 120, 150, 180-day turnaround time because your business is not set up for that. Maybe then you're in the phase of your business where you want to do simple flips, right? That you can turn around in 30 to 60 days, where with a 90-day contract, I'll make some money back. But maybe you have that capital stake in the back end. You took care of some funding with Fund and Grow that we had like 2 weeks ago, or you have you have the rich uncle in Nigeria, right? Or you have some savings in your self-directed IRA so that you can be the lender on your own transactions, right? So when you do all that, I think buy box and time liquidity is um are like the two major things. And then also put a complexity ceiling into that, especially when you're in the business. And how do I mean that? It can make sense to take over landlocked properties in states where you can sue in like an easement, but it will probably take you 2 years to get it or a year to get it. So you probably don't want to touch these properties. It can make sense to go through a messed up title with probate and so on, but it will put you on a longer timeline. We're just going through like one probate process right now that took 8 months. right? So, and it was a lot of manpower that we needed to invest to get it done because there were five hairs involved, updating everyone, getting everyone aligned, keeping everyone in the loop. Is that something you want to solve right now in your business? Right? It can be a wetland situation where you need to go through a wetland mitigation process. Yeah, that can give you true leverage on a property, but are you in that phase of a business, or is this something where you should just say no, if that makes sense? Right? So, and the last rule is it should be repeatable, right? Like when you hunt down deals and when you say that, is that a deal type in my buy box that is like available in that area that I'm targeting? Or are there just like 100 records? Right. So when you define what your outcome should be, how that should behave while you market it, sell it, whatever, then you should see, is there enough volume that I can do that over and over and over again? Because now you set your system up for one piece of deal. And when you focus on that one and do it over and over again, and your entire organization focuses on that, then you really build a system that will work for you. Right. So here's a little homework I want you to do, right? Give yourself 5 questions, right? So create a one-page buy box for yourself, right? And I really don't take another deal or send another piece of marketing until you do that, right? The first question is, my major exit strategy is what? Is it wholesale flip? Is it owner financing? Is it subdivide? Is it entitlement? What is it? Right? My maximum hold time for a deal is how long do I want to have that deal? 30 days, 60 days, 180 days, a year? Third question is I will not touch deals with what complications? Landlocks, wetlands, um, any kind of inheritage problems, whatever that is. Like, it's not about that you can't do that, but like for you, it's really important when that comes up to say, you know what, that's not for me right now. Which doesn't mean that you can't do it in the future, but I want you to focus on getting that one thing together that works for you right now. The fourth thing is my capital band is the following. How do I structure deals financially? Is it wholesale when we don't have funds right now? Is it like buying them, selling them when I have like capital available? Is it like what? And the last question is this deal type repeatable? Like when you have lined all that out, do I find that over and over again? It's like one page, no spreadsheets, no overthinking, but that should be a 5-point decision rule. You do know when you run market selection, when you have a deal in front of you, you should just like clearly say yes or no. Because we waste so much time in thinking about what if. Does that make sense? Um, and like, Gene, can I disclose the deal in Washington we were talking about last week?
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a deal, and Gene was talking with that guy, and they agreed on a price of, I don't know, $200,000. And, the retail price was like 325 to 350,000. We could have worked a little bit with the parcel. Then it would have probably be 400,000, but it would have been an investment of like 25 plus like extended timeline on funding. So it would have costed us like 35, 40 grand. In the very end, something happened with the seller. There was another offer for 240,000. So we needed to bump up our offer to 250,000. And then we were started discussing about that deal and what if and da 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 da. In the end, we just wasted a bunch of time because with 250,000, it was not a deal anymore because it was out of this buy box, right? The criteria was okay, we need to have a certain spread in that deal that we can get it funded, that we can sell it for a profit. And in the very end, like then we started discussing and wasting time and manpower, but like we should have just said no. 250 is nothing we can do at this point, right? And this is why I always talk in this business. What you're really building is a pipeline asset, right? This seller maybe now takes an offer of 240,000 that he has from another investor, but will this investor follow through? No. What you need to take care of now is, hey, we identified that opportunity. We know there's a buyer for that deal type in that area. So we want to keep in touch with the seller over time to see if the deal he had was following through. And that's a loss for now, but maybe that $240,000 land flipper never comes through because he hits the same feeling that we hit.
That's right.
Like like we have an asset now that's worth 325,000. He maybe thinks it's worth 400, goes in his underwriting, tries to double close on it, drags the seller out, and the seller is just frustrated. And that's a high motivation. He wants to put this money, what he gets out of there in his like coffee shop, right, for working capital. So, what you really want to do, you want to keep them in a nurture that you stay in touch with him and see what happens to that deal. And this is smart sourcing. Does that make sense? And we don't want to say, oh, fuck, that deal doesn't happen. No, what we want to say is, okay, we identified another opportunity. We have it valued in as it's part of our pipeline. We nurture it and focus on the new opportunities coming in until we find the next one where we have a motivated seller, because this is the business where we're in. Yeah, we can pull leverage through different exit strategies. We can pull leverage through different capital strategies, but ultimately, our business is built around one thing, that we build a big enough pipeline that it feeds us consistently with deals. And once we identify an opportunity, we don't want to let it go because we already paid money for it. Does that make sense? Like when somebody reaches out and even if the deal doesn't happen, that doesn't mean the deal does happen, right? Like one of my favorite questions is like when they say, oh, I have an offer for that thing. Okay, is that offer in writing? Did you sign that offer? Did that other person follow through? Are you in escrow? Is the title company working that? Right? It's not, oh, he has already another offer. No, question that. Right? Like because now you got on the bottom of that. But I don't want to get too far away from that. But like, what I wanted to say is like here, and we looked at that deal for an hour or whatever too, and I said, you know what, it doesn't make sense for that price. So we need to renegotiate that deal and see if we can have another solution with the seller or not. Right? Because our price is 200,000. That's what we can buy it for, 195 or whatever. That we can underwrite it, that we make enough profit, and that it's worth our time. Right? So don't do deals that are not worth your time because, in the very end, like I was working with a land investor over a period of time, and he got so stuck in trying to make big deals happening that were clearly no deals or had so many oh, here's a subdivide. Oh, here we could do a land mobile home package. Oh, here is like this, and here's this. Don't chase the shiny objects. Focus in your pipeline on sorting that ones out that fit your business right now, if that makes sense. Right? So let me connect the dots a little bit, right? And we come to question 2 minutes, Michael. Is that okay? Write it down. I'm eager for that one, right? When you have a clear buy box, your deals get faster, your comps get easier, your offers get cleaner, and like your confidence level goes up because you know what you're talking about, and there's not so many what ifs because on the phone no, okay, that's a deal or not, right? And bad deals just disappear from your pipeline, right? Because good buy boxes they don't will not find your deals, but they will eliminate distractions if that makes sense. And if you're watching from the outside, inside Skool, right, where all these people that are live here with us are on, we teach that. I show you how to do that, right? Like in the courses that are in there and how you do that. So, and we discuss that too on calls like this. We have two comms calls a week. So if you want to join us, we have a $27 offer right now. Post your buy box, maybe in Skool today. If you're on this call, hey, this is my buy box. Let's discuss them. Let's drop it in there. Mustafa, let's make a post and collect buy box. So I will drop mine into there too if you guys want to see it, right? And let's get together there. Discuss deals, better buy boxes, better market selection, better marketing, whatever this what you all find in Skool, $27. Just test us out, be on those calls with us, and let's really create some momentum there to get better deals done in 2026. And with that said, I hope that helped you a little bit. It was a little check-in, and I open it up for question. And I know Michael at the first one, and that guy always asks like really good questions. I know that. So let's go.
Well, no pressure. I actually, I actually have two questions. I'll start with the one that I was thinking of earlier, which is, something that I think you're talking about exit strategies. And to me, anything that I can't self-fund that's going to have to go through a lender, what would be really useful for someone in my position is knowing what they want to buy because it's really they're determining the exit strategy as the buyer, the person that's going to end up going on to title. So if I knew, for instance, that you at Lamb Pilot were looking for acreage above 20 acres at has to be comped through land pilot and fit within the comp structure and you're specifically looking within these target regions, then I can market to those regions in order to lock up deals that I know that you want, which takes away the concern of I lock up a deal and say, I comp the property at 200,000, I lock it up at 100,000, and then I go, God, I hope I can get funding for this, right? To be able to go in
Absolutely.
knowing that I have a funding partner that has maybe even pre-looked at this deal and said, yeah, if you can lock it up for that amount, we'll fund it. That changes my confidence dynamic a lot. So do you guys offer that at all in terms of a more of a targeted idea of what you would ideally love to find so that we can narrow our focus a little bit?
Absolutely. So that's a really good question. And Michael, a really smart distinction in the back end too, right? Because when you market and you don't have that defined, then you're there what you described. Oh, fuck, now I have the deal. I need to do something with it. I need to find money. I need to do this and all that. We have a pretty broad approach at the land pilot. For us, it's just important to get a deal together and we do all the dispute too and underwriting and all that. So you just give us the contract, we take it from there and my team and I are working it. We just want to look at a net profit of $40,000 after everything is paid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's like the minimum. When we now talk about hundreds of thousands of dollars deals, right? Like then it's a little bit about like the discussion with Jared last week, right? When I made disclose that Jared, you were here on the call, like he was coming across a deal, it was worth roughly 1 million. And as always, do we want to take it down for 550 or 600,000 with own capital, or can we work with the seller a little bit on owner financing, JV structures, and so on? Because in this day's market, it's also about that. But um, no matter if you do it with us, like we look at everything. I like in the moment more recreational acreage than anything you can build on. For one
Yeah.
reason, because the real estate market itself is still super soft, and even if the rates go a little down, they're not there that we have a bunch of buyers that would finance their deals, if that makes sense, right?
Sure.
Through the bank and all that. So I like recreational acreage a little bit more, but when it's a residential deal, development deal, something by deal that makes sense, because we have different exit strategies mapped out already, right? And when you work with us, like on we run the comps and we give you a price, it will always be comped on retail, right? So when we would just flip it, um, and you get it for that price, great. Then we can always do probably something with that price, even if DD can show us sometimes like real crap. Like we had another deal the other day, like there was problems with perks in that area because like all the houses were built prior to 1985, and before 1985 there was a different rule around septic systems, and since then for the past 40 years they had trouble approving septics, right? Like, and all of that. That can always happening, but we will always know then, hey, it's a bad deal, and you don't guess in the wild. No, you focus getting more opportunities lined up. So this is the one way, right? Like we look recreational acreage right now primarily. And needs to make $40,000 in profit. I look at every deal that has this characteristics, which is probably not the answer you want to hear, but like we do that nationwide. If you fulfill that profit thing, this is one of the major rules we have. And we also look like when you look from a market perspective, like at average turnaround time that's no longer than 180 days in that market, and over 12 months, like 100% sell-through rate, right? Like there needs to be movement in the market and some activity, right?
Sure.
This is where we is one of the first things. When you now don't want to work with us in the Launch Kit Pro in the Skool community, it's a course, right? I think it's a little add-on. It's $125 or something like that. I give a complete money raising playbook there. Like how do you start it? Where do you start? How do you build it up? Because like there you have two or three ways of doing that, right? There's a couple of professional lenders in our place, right? Which you can determine. One is equity lenders, the other ones are debt lenders. The debt lenders will leave you more profit. Um, it will require that you make payments, right? So you need to have a little bit of own liquidity. And they will have a more targeted underwriting requirement meanwhile. So they will like say a lot of no's to you or require you to bring some own money into the deal. The second one is you have a bunch of equity lenders, which are most of the time retired land investors, right? That have funds set aside to fund deals and now take then a piece of the profit, usually between 30 and 55%, depending on the timeline. You can work with those. And that can be great, right? Especially when you're new, because a lot of them also help with Dispo and have some ideas and can help you out. Um, but you want to be a little bit self-sufficient, right? Like, and maybe do like smaller deals, 20, 30, $40,000. Dude, I would approach my networks that I have. All of us had like former work colleagues, family and friends that
Yeah.
have capital locked up. And if you are really confident about deals, you want to do that. This group of lenders, you need to educate them on the opportunity and they will trust you, right? But it's also a really huge benefit because when they trust you, they will fund whatever deal it is that comes from you. Does that make sense? Because they trust you as a person, right? This is like the two or three ways how you can, or four ways partnering with us, going with a professional land lender, or building your own networks. And I have like at length I talk about that in the Launch Kit Pro, how you're going to do that.
Yeah. So that kind of bridges into my second question, if you guys don't mind me jumping in with a secondary one. It's about what you do with edge cases, because like what we're talking about now, if I have the utmost confidence that I have a flippable property and I have multiple angles I could take to get that funded, right? Because it just comes down to data. But and I understand your point, if it doesn't fit your buy box, typically punt it. But if there is an edge case where you think that if you had the right like JV partnership opportunity, where what it really comes down to is you outsourcing subject matter expertise. So I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. I've been talking to a landowner. She's got 43 acres, a big pond on the property, but no flooding issues. And she set it up as a homestead, right? So she's got a two-story little house built out there. She's got septic, she's got solar, she's got a whole battery pack and the whole setup to live off grid out there. So it's a weird edge case where it's a little bit too fancy to be a ready to go hunting property. Nobody's going to want to overpay for that, but it's definitely not a turnkey live-in situation. It really is an off-grid living situation. So I think she's going to have a hell of a time selling it on market for that reason. But I look at it and I'm like, well, we could potentially do a subdivide and sell it as two separate properties. I have no idea how to do that. I don't have the subject matter expertise. I would have to outsource that subject
Yeah.
matter expertise. There's a couple of different, if we were to do seller financing to someone who would want it as a hunting property, but they're not going to pay 180 grand up front. Okay, great. I again don't have the subject matter expert to take that exit strategy. So it's in those kind of edge cases, what I'm looking for isn't money. I can get money. What I'm looking for is help, expertise of somebody that can say, look, I'll do this. You shadow me. Here's what you get out of it. And if I get a slice of that pie, I don't care if it's a much reduced amount and I can learn how to do those kind of deals. I'll take that all day long. So how do you game plan that? What do you approach when you have one of those that you're not sitting on the subject matter expertise for?
You want to rewatch the call we did on Friday? I talked exactly about that. Um,
Okay.
no, so here's the short rundown. right? You always have in your business the way of doing like the things in two ways. You do it by yourself or you rely on partners, right? Me personally, in my career, I should have probably relied more on partners, but I have also done a lot of things by myself and wasted a lot of time and money on those, right? So in the end, it's how do you deal with noise and distraction in your business? So like like when you have those deals, like who is the right partner to help me doing that? It can be the land pilot, right? We do a wide variety of things, and the reason we can do this is because we have a wide team of partners in the back end too that can take on more complicated, educated stuff. What you are just like bringing here is you just need a really good agent who knows how to handle that, and then it's defining owner financing and all that. We can do that at the land pilot, right? Or you can also do that by yourself. Just be aware that time you're figuring that out, finding that agent and all that, right? You will be distracted from building more pipeline. Does that make sense? And I think in the face of your business, when you're pretty new, when you're still building it, this is the most important part, building pipeline, pipeline, pipeline until your pipeline produces. And of course, you will pay probably more when you work with partners. And, like you will give up 50% in equity in the deal and all that. But always look on the opportunity cost too, because this is what I see happening over and over and over that people are like, oh, I want to have the whole pie. And there's this famous quote, right? Yeah, do you want to have a cookie or a slice of a watermelon? Right? This is like always the thing. And so and I mean, in your case, I know a lot about you is I would look for small partners because you have a great network of people already that you know and say, you know what, let me reach out to that person. Maybe he can help me with that deal. Or maybe let me reach out to Robin. Maybe he can help me with the deal. Because also, like when you work with partners, you want to see can they really do it or are they not really spending that much attention to it? Because that will happen too, right? Not every partner that says he can do it in the very, very back end. So if you have that deal, send it over. We have a look with Holly and my team on it, and we'll give you dedicated feedback. And the more we know, the better it is. Like the more you share, the better. Like a partner like us can do that. And there we are again. Like when you give the details, this is the exit strategy. This is what's going on with the property. There's septic and this and blah. And you can do off-grid living.
Yeah.
And I think, by the way, the market for off-grid living is huge right now. It's like a lot of people want that, especially like, above average middle class and like wealthy people are looking to get into off-grid living and they all pay cash and have money lying around and want to be sustainable and don't rely on the system and all that crap, right? Like so,
Yeah.
yeah, if you pass like this, great. When it comes for the right price, great too, right? But this is what needs to be determined in a due diligence period. So build a partner network, of course, for the beginning. And then when you have your machine set up, that's well oiled, right? Like, and you decided, okay, that's working, then see, is there another business model that I really like within that machine, which I can run by myself? It can be the subdivides, entitlements, whatever. Or do I just want to stay my course with that at another layer of deals, right? This is what it is, but focus on doing one thing at a time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, sure. It just like like the watermelon analogy, of like I'm happy to just take some smaller bites of the watermelon while I learn, as long as I'm not doing an entire watermelon's worth of work, right? Like
Yes,
in
that's
partnering,
right. But
I
like when
need
you have
someone
something
else
like
to,
that, bring it to the comms calls, right? You can just submit it. We can discuss it there. If you're unsure, if you haven't have the deal structured, if you have a deal assigned contract, submit it through the deal form in the Land Pilot portal, right? But this is what we do this comms calls for. It's like exactly these situations, right? Like, hey, I'm unsure on how to value this deal because this is all the things I know, and I know that creates value. So let's find it together, structure it together, because there's certain ways how you can structure deals like that too, if that makes sense.
sure. Yeah.
Tom, did we
So
answer all your questions, Michael? We do one more
Yes.
because I need to jump off, but like we do one more. Like Michael, was that good for you?
Yeah, 100%.
mine,
Great. Tom, go
mine's just
ahead.
kind of a quick follow on Michael's. Would you in that case when you have those edge deals that come up, would you just essentially kind of set some of them on the back burner and keep nurturing the relationship with the seller. So maybe like in 3 or 4 months, that price goes down 20,000 and suddenly it's a deal.
Absolutely. I mean, so there's two ways how a deal can be not that what we're looking for. It can be upscale or downscale, right? There can be issues or there can be opportunity, like in your deal, right? Like when you have septic and power and like off-grid living, and when all of that is set up, that's like something up which can help you a lot to move a deal, right, on a higher price, right? Then it's just a form of marketing and finding the right buyer. But in the moment when you go down, there's condition issues like I have that on one of my properties, and even we walk the property with people out there, but there's a neighbor that has dogs that are crazy. And everyone that comes to the property just was hunting down people walking the property, like all the dogs. It escalated so that my realtor, in one case, needed to call the local sheriff and the county commissioner. They took the dogs out, and that lady started spitting and then ended up in jail. True story, right? And her father-in-law needed to bail her out, like really. But I shouldn't have bought that property and should have seen that. And even like with the really thorough due diligence that we do, stuff like this can pop up. And when you see stuff like this up front, you stay away, put that on the back burner because then the price needs to correct like downwards. But like everything that is up that has more, stay in touch with that for now because what it doesn't do, it doesn't require more work. Maybe we need to subdivide that, but maybe there's also to create an opportunity, Michael, example here, to find that buyer that would pay for like, hey, I just bring a mobile home trailer, whatever down there, build a little house to do the off-grid living lifestyle, right? Like because it's already set up, there's a buyer for sure for that. If it would be the other way around, like, oh yeah, she wants to get paid for an off-grid living site, then stay away from that, if that makes sense. Right? And stay in touch with them because things change. They say no today, but maybe they say yes tomorrow. And that's like really truly what you need to create in your business is this like long time stay in touch with people thing. Good guys. I need to jump into my next call. Really good question. Thank you, Michael and Tom, for asking those. Everyone else, have a blessed day. See you tomorrow. It's the comms call. Michael, bring that deal tomorrow. I think it's 5 p.m. CST. Let's talk it through and get some advice on there how we can structure that. Have a good week, guys. Bye bye.